with high fantasy, you get thrown into a whole new world. Sometimes like different laws of physics, different cultures, different rules, different everything. And I realized I do this a lot. Like all of my high fantasy books, I've read twice at least. Because by the time I get to the second time, I understand the magic system so much better now.
Welcome to More Magic, a fantasy book podcast. I'm your host, Demi Utley.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Bullis.
We have our tea, our cozy blankets, and a lot of books to discuss. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the More Magic Book Club podcast. Today, we are doing a theme episode, and we are talking about our favorite high fantasy books. So if you've listened to a few episodes, you know that I'm a big low fantasy fan. So we needed a little extra help on this one because I apparently have not read a lot of high fantasy since high school. So today we're joined by AJ Peterson, which you may remember from our live WinterCon episode. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so AJ, you not only love to read fantasy, high fantasy, and also fantasy in general, but you also have written it. So your book, Oblivion's Hymn, is high fantasy. And then the second book in the series is coming out this fall.
Yes,
so now it's kind of the perfect time to pick that up for anyone who hasn't read it. And I remember it has gods, and I think, is it music? Something to do with music?
One of my characters is a bard, and she made a deal with a god and didn't keep up her end, and then her singing voice was taken away. Ooh. So there's a little bit of she plays an instrument instead, but she's still very much trying to get that back. But yeah, music is a big theme in the book.
I love that, and I feel like bards are a central archetype of high fantasy that you don't really see anywhere else in any other genre or even subgenre. Am I right?
Not that I can think of. I feel like that sort of traveling minstrel storyteller. Yes. Yeah, I can't think of another subgenre that has them really.
I guess Baldur's Gate, the video game, but that's like a high fantasy video
that's
game.
That's definitely high fantasy, yeah.
Which is, by the way, for those interested, I am a bard in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm an elf bard. That's always awesome. The character that I pick. So I always like the bard character because I'm like, wow, they don't have to fight. They can talk their way out of things.
That's interesting because I feel like it's so I was gonna say magical, but obviously this is fantasy. But yeah, why don't we have that in any other fantasy subgenre? That's so interesting. Yeah. Or even in our daily life. I guess we do kind of have bards, but not the way that they are in books.
Yeah. We do have bards, and it's so funny. I was thinking about this as a Angelino, a lifelong girl born and raised in Los Angeles. They are super wealthy and are doing really well for themselves. The bards and jesters of the world are basically Hollywood. Plus, you throw in some business people in there, too, who are the really powerful ones. But, we have bards in this world.
It's the buskers on street corners and, yes. People who...
They're not doing so well. Yeah. They need more financial support. But, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's part of what I love about high fantasy is that I feel like you're able to bring in elements that just wouldn't work in our world because they don't. I mean, I'm sure once we talk through some of the books, they have even completely different societies. So in our capitalist society, we have to think about that. Are you able to make money as a bard and survive in our society? But in other worlds, that maybe isn't a thing. And I think I really love that about high fantasy. Are there any because you two are much more versed in, I'd say, the more recent high fantasy. My biggest one is Aragon, which came out, I don't know, 2005 or before then. Are there any worlds that have kind of those interesting structures that you really like?
Oh, many.
So yeah, that question is so
all of them.
Yeah, it's every world is fascinating and unique and so clever.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about high fantasy is seeing how creative people get with the worlds and the magic and what could societies look like if they're not tied down by our history and our, cultural whatever. If I had to pick a favorite, so like the book that I always go to when people ask me what my favorite books are the Burning Kingdoms trilogy by Tasha Suri. So the Jasmine Throne is the first one. It's like based on like India and a lot of their history, but totally secondary world. I think maybe one of my favorite magic systems, it's like plant based, but kind of sinister plant based. Like,
interesting. Like a Venus flytrap?
Like the people are being slowly taken over by, they call it the rot, where their like flesh is turning into plant matter.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Gross.
And you have to like, you get power basically by like hollowing out parts of yourself to make room for the magic. It's really, really cool.
Ooh, is it like gruesome though? Or is it?
There are definitely dark bits. So it's very much like a sort of a revolution story. And one of the main characters is a princess who was like banished by her brother, who is very, very nasty. And she's trying to like retake her throne. And the other character is part of this like kind of the lower levels of society that's been really taken over by the rot. And the two of them are doing their schemes and things. I wouldn't call it a light read, but I remember from our hope chat in the podcast that those tend to be my favorite. Kind of one of those like optimistic, bittersweet endings.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's such a beautiful world, and not like anything else I've read before.
That sounds so interesting. I've seen it a lot, but I for some reason I thought it was low fantasy, like set in China. I don't know why. That was my vision from maybe just the cover. So I completely made that up, and we'll go read the book now.
I think it's labeled as like historical fantasy.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why I thought that. Yeah. That's confusing if it's in another world. I guess it's just inspired.
I mean, sometimes it's inspired. Yeah, you were one country off, Demi, because I think they share a border, India and China. So you're so close. I think sometimes a lot of high fantasy is inspired by different aspects. Like I know Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy was inspired by medieval France. And so that's why a lot of them have like, a lot of them have French names. And it's kind of like France before the revolution, like the oppression of, the people before the revolution. So I know that, but then like they take it and they make it their own and they put in their own twist on it. So, and I think that's normal to be inspired by something and then just run with it and be like, yeah, like AJ, like what you said, like, what if we just had a completely different historical context? Like the culture is similar, but the context is completely different. Even the laws of physics are different. Like, what would that look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of times those books, I know especially like Jasmine Throne and I didn't put this on my list, but The City of Brass is also that sort of, that's actually like technically in the real world. I didn't put it on here.
I really want to read that one. I keep thinking about it. Yeah, because that's more like Egypt inspired, or in Egypt. Yeah.
Yeah. And takes a lot of influence from like the things going on in that time in the world there. And like, I think there's a lot of parallels usually like to the political situation. But then you throw in like magic and gods and like a forest that doesn't want people to come into this part of the world and like all these different cool little things.
For me, like speaking of political, I think that's also another interesting thing is high fantasy when it like helps me understand something. Like it's a way to almost like process political realities in our planet. So like, for example, one of my favorite books is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Have you guys ever read that?
I haven't. I've heard it's excellent, but I have not read it.
It is really good. And it was my first ever African inspired high fantasy. So it's based in it's heavily influenced by West Africa, which was a breath of fresh air since I'm used to the like I said, like medieval France or something like that. And really the book is about like this dictator. There's this group of people who are magic. They're witches or they're magicians or they have some kind of innate magical ability. They also have stark white hair from the time that they're born, which I just think is cool. I was like, should I dye my hair white? When I was reading that book, I was like, because it's like white hair on dark skin, and I'm like, and I have dark skin if you don't watch the YouTube. So I was like, would I look cool with white hair? But you know what? I think I just look old.
I went through a period with that where I wanted to dye my hair silver when before Daenerys went off the deep end. And yeah, I don't think it actually works on most people.
Yeah, it's a look. Like you have to have a certain look to pull it off without looking like, oh, excuse me, ma'am, do you need help crossing the street? Like, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so all the magicians have white hair, and so that's a physical marker, and he basically commits genocide against them. And this is one magician who survived. Her mom sacrificed her life, or I can't remember. It's actually been a while, but I remember sobbing when I was reading that book because it was so like Tomi Adeyemi, who is Nigerian. It was so like she was able to touch on certain themes and able to articulate certain themes that I had a really hard time articulating myself. And it was very healing to read. I think the second book just came out a while ago and I really need to read it, but it's on my list for sure. I'll get to it, but it was a really good book. So that's one of my favorite high fantasy. And again, it was just unique because it was African inspired or West African inspired. And Tomi is also from San Diego, so she's a Californian like me, but she's like a child of immigrants, so she has like that interesting mix of like a Western perspective and then also the like her family's cultural historical perspective.
Yeah, because I read that, I think when it came out, it's been a while, but I remember really liking it, but don't remember like any of the details.
I remember crying, but remember Debbie, we always say those are the best books where we don't really remember what happened, but we loved it.
Yeah.
I remember crying a lot and being like, this is so right. Like, this is how I feel. Yes. And then I don't remember what did I feel? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think The Everlasting was one of those books for me. And I didn't read that long ago either, which is slightly embarrassing. My memory is just so bad. But
I mean, that's the whole book is like, do you remember anything?
That's true. Yeah. It was thematic. But I'm a sucker for anything written in second person. So whenever that gets thrown in, I'm like, oh yes, inject it into my veins. But the love story in that one, I think, really hit me really hard. And also the propaganda machine also felt pretty relevant to the times we live in.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was thinking of high fantasy, I didn't even consider that one because in my mind it felt so close to reality that it was like our world, because the political themes and just all of that, it just felt very close to home. But that one really, I loved how she portrayed love in it, which we talked about because we do have a whole episode on The Everlasting for anyone who hasn't listened to it. Definitely read the book first before you listen. But yeah, I loved how she portrayed love in that, both romantic love, but also familial love, and explored like what it means to be a parent versus a child and like what that relationship looks like. Because she did that in a lot of creative ways. And yeah, I love that book. It just had so much.
That was the bit that broke my heart when they this is a pretty recent book. So can we talk spoilers a little bit?
Maybe let's not spoil it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
the family stuff is
about.
Yeah.
It's I mean, Alex Harrow is one of my favorite authors, and she normally does, I think almost all of her other books are low fantasy. So it's interesting that she had that one as high fantasy.
Yeah. I think like you said, though, it feels close enough to like, I don't know, maybe like 80 years ago or so that it doesn't feel like high fantasy.
Yeah. It was almost like if you were to take like the 1940s, like and then combine it with like the 1800s. Like in terms of like the political aspect, it was like colonialism and imperialism of the 1800s, but with the fascism of the 1940s.
Yeah, but then also like the knights of like
yes, and then you throw in some knights from the medieval times. You have an interesting concoction there.
Yeah, that one was so fun. That was one of my favorite books last year.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Broke me out of a reading slump.
And I have to say, the like writing in the second person isn't easy. Like I don't think that there's many like that, because it's not like you have to be. I always say Alex Harrow, like after reading a couple of her books, she's like a higher echelon of writer. Like she is so good.
She's so good.
Yeah,
so talented. Because like I think it's hard to pull off I mean, I'm not necessarily a writer, I'm just a reader, but like I think it's hard to pull off second person storytelling.
It is. I mean, the ones that I can think of that have done it are the writers who really know what they're doing, like N.K. Jemisin, Anne Leckie. Like they're really, really talented. And I think it's usually more like a framing device. So you want to be really purposeful with how you use it, because it's not how we're used to hearing stories. But when it's done well, it's really interesting.
When you guys were kids, did you guys do I'm thinking of my second person stories that I read. Did you guys ever read the R.L. Stine Choose Your Own Adventure novels?
The Goosebumps, right?
Oh, yeah, Goosebumps. Yeah. Like, you are walking through this street and then, like, turn this page. If you decide to go here, turn to this page. If you decide to go here, turn to this page. Did you guys ever do those?
I read like all Goosebumps, but I did not like Choose Your Own Adventure, because I was like, no, I want you to tell me.
As someone who didn't play video games, I think that was like the closest I got to understanding why my brother loved video games. Like at that time. Now I love video games, but like back then I was like, this is what video games are. It's like you choose which way to turn.
But yeah.
I don't think I ever read Goosebumps, because I was and still am a scaredy cat, and I was like, oh, these look scary, so I'm not gonna.
They were scary. I probably should not. Like, if my mom had known what I was reading, she wouldn't have let me read it. But she's like, oh, my daughter's reading. Great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't need to see what she's reading. Because I remember there was one that I read where it's a girl in the mirror who takes over the girl, like the real life person, because the real life person had so many insecurities that she was pouring into the mirror. And I couldn't look myself in the eyes until like a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I had that. There was one, it was called Say Cheese and Die, and you like, if your photo was taken, it would like take your soul or something. And they were scary. I listened to an interview because I actually was at a conference and he was there, and but yeah, I've listened to some interviews with him, and he's like, well, I don't want to scare kids. So you have to like, I want to be scared, but not like terrified. So you have to like work in some humor and stuff, because they're kind of funny too. Like they are. But no, he also scared us. Well, it depends, I guess. What kind of kids does he hang out with? Because I got scared.
I was definitely more of like a Magic Treehouse kind of kid.
Or the Magic School Bus. That one also, that's like, I'm like, I guess that would be low fantasy, but I remember they went to space in that. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I do. I think we watched those, and it was like when the substitute comes for school, they put on like either Bill Nye or Magic School Bus.
Man, they just don't make it like that anymore.
They really don't.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, okay. So speaking of magic in schools, I'm going to see if I can like segue. So I saw you have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik on here.
Yes. I read that one pretty recently. And it was sort of like it was in the fall, so the atmosphere was great for it. I feel like dark academia is like very much fall vibes.
Totally.
But it's the main character is like very sassy in a way that is a lot of fun, and she's in this wild school where they like train magic users. And there's all these like precautions you have to take in order to survive. It's like a really low percentage of people that actually end up graduating. And she's really, really good at what she does. And there's this idiot guy who just like he like keeps stumbling into situations where he saves people, including her, which is like irritating to no end because he's the one who keeps getting all the credit for it. But he's like so oblivious that you can't even be mad at him about it. It's a lot of fun. And there is a lot of exposition in it, just because like the workings of the school and all of the monsters in it and like the things they have to do are kind of complicated. But it's delivered in a way that's really digestible and fun. And I think there's a sequel, which I have not read. But I would be interested to see what happens like post that they start the year, like at the beginning, to start the book at the beginning of the school year, and then you end it with graduation. So I'd be interested to see what happens once they actually get outside.
Sounds interesting.
I've heard like some people in my book club have said this is their favorite. It's like the pinnacle of magic school is like this book, A Deadly Education. So I haven't read it, but yeah, a lot of people have really hyped it up. So I want to read it because I think that, do a lot of students die? Am I making that up?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's very dangerous to be there.
And the parents let their kids go?
Yeah, I think it's because if you make it out, it's like very, very prestigious and you can get, a job at very high muckety muck magic places or whatever.
Must be a certain type of parent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's like what we were talking about earlier, like different cultural kind of situation molds the characters. But yeah, I mean, I always thought that about a lot of magic schools. You're like, you really letting your kids run amok in a situation like this? Like, what are the adults doing here?
That is true. And you can't think too logically about boarding school fantasy. Like in real life, like in Harry Potter, no parent would have let their kid go there as soon as like Voldemort was back. Like, come on.
Or like the lightning thief. Like the things that went on in Camp Half-Blood were probably not somewhere you want to send your kids to.
Wait, were all the kids sons of gods? Am I making that up?
Yeah, they're demigods, so they're like half.
Okay,
half divine.
I'm actually watching it on Disney Plus right now, season 2, and it's really good. I read the books a long time ago, and the author, he hated the movie so much that he like got the rights back.
Was rough.
Yeah. He like got the rights back, and he's like, if you want a show, I have to be on it. And you know what? It's pretty good.
Oh, I should watch it. I kind of liked the movie, but like I haven't read the books for a long time, and like was sick one day and watched the movie.
The movie is fine if you just completely separate it in your mind from the books. Like it's a fine movie, but he obviously can't do that, and he was very mad. He was like, "You've ruined my work." So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, speaking of exposition, like I know, AJ, you and I were talking about M.L. Wang or Wang. Mm-hmm. You want to tell me about her book? I'm reading one of her other books right now.
Yeah, so I'm only like 100 pages into Blood Over Brighthaven, but it's really, really good so far. It's another dark academia thing, but sort of like women in STEM vibes. There's a test to become a high mage, and there's only like one woman who's allowed to take the test once every 10 years because they consider it a waste of time to even test women because they're just not as magically capable as men. And our main character goes and takes the test, and just spoilers, passes with flying colors, and then it thinks that she's going to be, entering this place of like learning and respect and intellect, and people are still really crappy to her. So she's kind of like, well, screw you. I'm just going to do my work so well that you have to respect me. But that's like the book first chapter is completely different than all of that. All of this takes place in like a literal bubble of the city that's protected by this barrier that keeps out this thing called the blight, which is, you get to see in the first chapter, very nasty. And we don't know anything about it or like where it comes from or what causes it to latch on to people and things. You just see it starting to like consume these people as they're fleeing across the lake, like this frozen lake toward the barrier. And yeah, very intense. And the magic is sort of, it's tied to like almost a typewriter-esque thing, where you have to like type out a spell and it accesses this thing called the other realm. So you have to like pull magic from specific points within the other realm to like siphon energy to do the thing that you want to do. And it's very precise. Otherwise, things can go very badly wrong. So there's a lot of explanation about that. But it's really cool. And it's delivered in a way like as she's taking the test, you're kind of like seeing through her eyes how all this stuff works. So I'm really excited to see where the rest of this book goes. I don't imagine it's going to be a very happy story for a little
with
while.
The blight, that sounds like
it almost reminds me of like the wildebeests in Africa. You know how they like rush toward again, like across the river, and then like the lions come.
Yeah,
that's like
or
the
like the
images. Yeah, like there's just like all these wild animals like out for blood, and like that's kind of what you were. That was like the image you were evoking was like the safari. Wait, not the safari. What's it called?
The savannah.
Thank you. The savannah, like the wildebeest rushing to make it through the river before they get eaten. I think Emma Wong is a really interesting writer. I think too, like women and like people is because I'm reading one of her current books right now is Sword of Kaigen, and it's really good. And same thing, like they live in this kind of culture that women aren't supposed to be good at, like the like warrior magic is what the like world is like a lot of like, you know, like innate softer warrior magic. But one of the moms, it's revealed, is like an amazing warrior magician, but she has to like kind of like hide it and just play the good wife. But she could actually beat anyone up. Like she's like she has like this cool past, and like I'm still reading it too. But so I think that's like probably a common theme in her works. But like AJ, you and I were talking about this, is sometimes when with high fantasy, I am reading it and I'm probably going to finish it, and then I'm going to have to read it again to understand what I read. Because like the magic system is confusing. Like with high fantasy, you get thrown into a whole new world. Sometimes like different laws of physics, different cultures, different rules, different like everything. And you don't want to do too much exposition because it'll get boring. And I think she does a good job of like weaving that line. But sometimes if you do less exposition, you're like, what was that magic word that they just used? And like, what does it do again? And so like you read it because you're interested in the plot, but then you have like, and I realize I do this a lot. Like all of my high fantasy books, I've read twice at least, because by the time I get to the second time, I understand the magic system so much better now. And now I can appreciate the magic system. Are you like that too?
I'm not a huge rereader. Usually I think usually you can kind of get the vibe of the magic, and then the exception to this might be Brandon Sanderson, where like you kind of do need to know the specifics, but where like how the magic works is very central to the plot, but a lot of times it's not. And you will kind of learn as you go and pick up on what's actually important in the things that they repeat doing. But I think you catch more on a reread, obviously, and I'm sure that's true of how the magic works and all the little like fun things that the author has really thought through, and you're just kind of like vibing the first time.
Especially after doing so many author interviews, I realized like authors do think it through. Like it's nice, it's good to appreciate what all that hard work, like they've thought through. And I mean, I'm talking to two authors right now. But like, yeah, you all, since y'all sorry, my instinct is to say you guys because I'm a Californian, but y'all, but you people are like work so hard for every detail is thought through, and so as a reader, I want to take the time to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an interesting point. Because I've spoken to a lot of people who are intimidated by kind of like classic high fantasy because like in the sense that it's not like romantasy, for example, because it can feel really overwhelming when you're thrown into that world and you don't know what's happening. And I think for people, like when you read a lot of fantasy, even in low fantasy, sometimes I can think of a few books, but you're just like thrown in and then you just have to be like, okay, I'll believe you. Like this is, this is happening and this is magic and it seems to work. I'll trust you. And it can be intimidating if you haven't read that type of fantasy before. Or that type of book before. So yeah, I think that's a good point that like, it's okay if you want to reread it or if you want to just be like I don't remember a lot of details. So I'll just be like, okay, I'll trust you and then just like enjoy the ride and
that's there's a certain amount of buy-in, I think, in high fantasy that maybe most other genres don't have, or you have to trust that the author knows what they're doing and that you will understand it as you go. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a fan of that sense of like wonder and confusion. I think it's one of the most charming things about the genre. But I know it is. Some people aren't a fan of being confused in their media, and that's okay.
Well, that's a good question for both of you is on this list, what do you think would be the best entry level for someone who is new to high fantasy and they want to get their feet wet?
Mm-hmm. Well, technically it's portal fantasy, but I have Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab because the main character is in another world. Have either of you read it?
A long time ago, I think.
Yeah.
That's the one with like multiple Londons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the premise is that there's 4 Londons. So one of them is our London, which is very lightly featured in the series. And then there's 3 other Londons and there's magic and the other worlds have magic. So that's a great one because you get to see a little bit of our world, but then it's like in these other worlds, there's magic and it is kind of central to the plot too, the magic. So I love that one. That's one that I recommend for anyone. Like anytime I have friends who are like, well, I want to read fantasy, but I don't know where to start. I'll recommend this book or Vicious by her, which I would consider low fantasy, but it's like a made up city, but it feels like our world. So maybe not that one, but although the Everlasting,
I was going to say, yeah. Things that feel really close to our world that are like familiar enough that you can kind of like assume a lot, I think. Yeah. So Everlasting, I think Isle in the Silver Sea, also by Tasha Suri, is another good one where it's sort of that same like fascist government kind of thing. And it's like the Isle is sort of like Britain, but not. And the government is trying to control like what stories are told, and the stories are like the thing that keep the island alive. Very, very cool. I feel like that book and the Everlasting go really well together.
Okay.
It's not exactly time loops, but there is like every like stories kind of inject themselves into people, and then they become those characters, and then when they die, the story finds a new host, basically.
Oh my gosh, that's almost scary. I don't.
Yeah,
it's like
it's actually like stories are a villain.
No, I phrased that badly. But there is sort of an element of like, depending on the story, there is sort of an element of like finding your own like fate in this predetermined thing.
I love that.
Yeah, and also there's a big like one of the characters comes from outside of the Isle, so she's an immigrant, and they're not supposed to be people who become parts of these stories, but she does. So there's a whole plot around that that's really interesting.
I'm sold. This is so interesting. Like, what an interesting concept.
I've never even heard of this. Which one was this? Isle in the Silver Sea?
Yeah, it's fairly new. I think it came out like the end of last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah. She's an auto-buy author for me. I love everything that she writes.
Is everything high fantasy, or is this the main high fantasy?
I think so. I know she has, her novels are all high fantasy. Empire of Sand was her first one. And then
I've heard of that
the
one.
Jasmine Throne is all high fantasy. And I think she has like a novella or something that's like I forget what kind of retelling it is, but it's like a historical romance that's retold. And I think is like either queer or Desi or both. I've forgotten now. But yeah. Absolutely love her.
Okay.
For me, my entry into high fantasy was The Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss.
That's a big, big step up.
And it was because like in 2020, when my husband and I were bored, we just started looking up like, best fantasy books of all time. And obviously The Kingkiller Chronicles was the one that came up. And that was that was my entryway into being like, whoa, this genre is crazy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was, I will say, I'll defend it and say that I think because Patrick Rothfuss is a bard and the main character is a bard, like he is every word has been crafted to like almost near poetic levels. You won't get bogged down by I guess for me, depending on everyone's different, but I didn't really get confused at all. Like I was able to follow along. There was mystery. There was so much mystery. Like he has like so many secret clues that he has to this day yet to wrap up and give us a satisfactory answer to. No pressure, Patrick. I know you're going through stuff, but like, yeah, I feel like it is a good entryway. If you're someone who can have the buy-in, you just don't want to get confused. I do think that the Kingkiller Chronicles is a good entryway because it's also just fun.
With the caveat that it's an unfinished series and has been unfinished for a while now.
Decades. I think decades. And I think if you look him up on Google, it says like his title is retired author.
Ooh.
So you would read it knowing that you will never get the answer. Probably like upon his death, they'll release the manuscript or something. But
yeah, they're also like door stoppers. If so just know that going in that you have to have the stamina.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these books are you have to have the stamina, right?
Yeah,
like they're not easy reads. They're not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, but they're worth it. They're so 100%. Worth it. That payoff.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, like, I guess I actually haven't read it, but have either of you read? Is it The Wheel of Time?
No, I haven't attempted.
No, I know Brandon Sanderson finished it. He the author died, and the wife chose Brandon Sanderson to finish it. But there's themes of violence against women that I read. I always have to check before to see if there's violence against women, and there is. So I was like, oh, maybe one day, but not today.
So I had multiple people tell me that it's worth reading because it's exploring that. I haven't read the book, so I could be wrong. But that it kind of there's more hope in it than because that's why I had stayed away from it. So anyway, but I've heard it's very long and kind of that classic fantasy, high fantasy, because it's another world too. Yeah, because that's the thing that they have magic and
There's a show about it right now too. I think on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but it got canceled. Oh, very sad. Oh. It was. I thought it was. Having not read the books, I thought the show was great, and Rosamund Pike's in it, so that has to mean that it's wonderful.
Yeah, and I don't know, why did it get canceled?
I guess I don't know, I feel like if shows aren't performing super crazy well these days, then they just get let go.
Yeah. I also think high fantasy shows have really, really high budgets. Yeah. So they have to have a really high viewership to have an ROI. You can't it's not like a low budget show. I don't think it's possible to do high fantasy low budget.
No, I don't think so.
The costumes and stuff would be. Yeah. Oh, Well, okay, I won't start watching the show.
But maybe I'll read it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting you have Jade City by Fonda Lee on here. I totally thought this was low fantasy too. I haven't read it, but so I'm learning that I'm just miscategorizing a lot of books in my brain, and that's what's happening. But yeah, so that one is high fantasy.
Yes, it's another one that's like takes a lot of inspiration from our world, so that maybe why it feels low fantasy. It's also, it maybe would classify as like urban fantasy.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's very much like, I think she pitches it like Chinese Godfather.
Sold.
Yeah. And their magic comes from jade.
Ooh.
But only, and like, so you wear your magic. But there's also like, I think if you put on too much, that's like, you have to kind of train your body to be able to work with it. And if you wear too much jade, it can make you sick. I think there's also like some addiction things that can happen with it. It's been a while since I've read it. But yeah, and I think she also has a background in economics. And that, if I remember in the second one, I feel like really you can tell because she gets really into like the trade routes, because it's only like this island that the jade comes from, and everybody.
Wait, that sounds interesting though.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
I mean,
fantasy, like economic fantasy. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's, and one of the characters that is kind of her job. Like, she's like the younger sister of the family, and she takes a lot of responsibility with like the money that flows in and out of the gang and the island.
I mean, I love everything that you just said. Like, first, urban fantasy, I realize, is something that I really enjoy that I don't see enough of. So I love to see more of that. And then it's urban fantasy set in like more Asiatic inspired, which is cool too. Like, I would love that. And then, like you said, economics of a fantasy, like fantastical goods and like fantastical economic system. Even more interesting. This might be, I don't know, AJ, I feel really overwhelmed right now because these are, I want to read all of them.
I have so many.
Yeah,
I know. And most of these are series. This one is finished at least. It's a trilogy.
Okay. Yeah. We should do that. Like, we should do that at the beginning. Is it a series? And if yes, is it done?
Yes. Yeah. I think most of these are finished series. I'm looking at my list. Yeah. Except Everlasting and Isle in the Silver Sea are standalones.
Yeah.
Which also I think makes some good entry points for high fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. From my list, obviously, if you are a listener, you know that my favorite author that I auto-buy is Brandon Sanderson. He's my man, my OG.
Classic.
Yeah. And he did not finish his books yet. Like, I love his entire corpus. Like, everything he's ever written, I've read it. But the one that's like the high fantasy world that he has is the Cosmere universe, which has multiple series in it. None of them are done, but whereas with all the other authors like George R. Martin or Patrick Rothfuss, where we're not sure if we're ever going to see them finished, I am willing to bet $1,000 that he will get the series
much lower
done.
Stakes.
And if he doesn't finish it because he dies, I'm pretty sure he has contingency plans in place so that the books will be done even after he dies. So I think it, like, if you are someone who doesn't want to get into a story because you're like, I'm never gonna get the like satisfactory ending, Brandon Sanderson is the one who I'm like, it's fine. Don't worry. You could get into it now. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Unless you want to wait until our 50s.
There's also like checkpoints in a lot of his series. Like the Mistborn, you have like separate eras or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I have not read Wind and Truth yet. But aren't the first
that was
the
first five is like one era.
Yeah. Oh, that's another. That one, I've been waiting for when I have the stamina to read that one. His books are long,
but so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
I
me,
know.
that's the real world. This is the world I endure in the in-between times when I can get back to Roshar with the, like.
So there's Mistborn and the Stormlight Archive. Do they interact? Like, are they?
There are cameos from.
Oh, there are. Oh,
Yeah.
They're working their way towards meeting each other. And actually, we're at the point now at the space war era now where they're like, it's implied that there is like almost like it's kind of like Star Wars, but like if Star Wars was much more fleshed out. Like something that always bothered me about Star Wars is the planets weren't fleshed out. Like, and sometimes you get confused between which planet is which, even at least for me as someone who like watched the 6 movies once or twice. Whereas this, like every planet is so like gets its own series. And so they're all working their way. And so like basically the planet that Mistborn is based on and the planet that the Stormlight Archive is based on are the 2 big players. And they are at a cold war with each other interstellarly. But there's all these other little planets too, and they also get their own books. And so there's some good standalone books of these little planets that don't have that much like skin in the game. The one, Demi, you and I, one of our first episodes was Tress of the Emerald Sea, which was a standalone that's like a little planet that is of some interest, but they're not really like a militia or like, you know, they're not really involved in the fight. There's another one that came out recently called Yumi and the Night Painter, and that's probably one of my favorite Brandon Sanderson books.
I've been meaning to read that.
So good. So good, AJ. I think you would really like it. It has a classic Sanderlanche in it towards the end where like everything just comes together and you're like, oh my God, is this what drugs is like? But, and so like, yeah, and that one is also heavily inspired by Japan and Korea. So it's like a infusion of those 2 cultures on this planet that is in perpetual darkness, minus like these 2 lights. Like there's these 2 neon lights in the sky. One is electric blue and the other one is electric pink. So imagine a world where it's like blue and pink. It's like so cyberpunky, but like also it's just cool. Yeah, great. So Brandon Sanderson's my guy. One day I would love to go. One day I would love to go to the Dragonsteel convention that he has every year.
Oh, me too.
Then let's go cosplay. I feel like I would make some good, like some of the characters he describes. I'm like, dude, I think I could totally be her. Like Tindwyl from Mistborn, maybe Yasna from Stormlight Archive.
Wait, Yasna, oh my goodness.
Right, I'm in my 30s. I'm full figured. So those are really, and those are pretty much the main 2. But yeah, like, you know, something like that.
So I wanted to ask you, for Brandon Sanderson to like as an entry point into that, because speaking of being overwhelmed with high fantasy, that even as like a fantasy reader, I am overwhelmed by Brandon Sanderson. So we're reading Mistborn in December for the book club. And would you say, is that a good entry point into the world, or would you recommend somewhere else?
AJ, what do you think?
So Mistborn is, I think, more, I don't know. It's not exactly an easier read. It's a little bit older and it's like a really hard magic system where like the rules are incredibly specific and they take pages and pages to explain them to you. But it's also like a really fun kind of like heisty novel. I think that's, if you're wanting to get into a series, that's probably easier than the Stormlight Archive. But yeah, I think Tress of the Emerald Sea is probably the best way to ease your way in.
Yeah. I would say read all his standalones. And if you're interested, then read Mistborn. Yeah. And then when you're hooked, you move on to the Stormlight Archive.
Yeah, when you have an entire year or more dedicate to reading.
I always look at my Goodreads, and literally like 2020 and 2023 were all dedicated to Brandon Sanderson. Like I read all of his books in 2020, and then I read them all again in 2023, and it's like my whole year. Gosh. Like a whole year of consistent reading. So yes, like you need a year. This is a time commitment. It is a part-time job, but it is the best job.
I've heard the audiobooks are really well done as well. They've got like dual narration with really good narrators.
It's like, and it's a husband and wife team.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it is very good. I read it the first time around, and then I listened to it the second time around. And also, there are clues from the audible, like from the audio, that you don't get from the reading because of the voices that they use. Like when someone's speaking, they'll use the same voice, and you're like, "Oh my God, that's Kelsier. That's like he shouldn't be here. He's not in this planet." Like you know.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So there's some good secret stuff.
Mm. Are there any other authors you can think of that do? Obviously, you can't call it the Sanderlanche for anybody else, but like that
I don't
moment
know what that
where.
means. What does that mean?
So his books are really long, right? But there's always this moment where everything comes together, and then it's just you read nonstop until the end because you're so engrossed and invested in what's going on.
Yeah, it's like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah,
all of the pieces, like the payoff is like so intense and so well done.
Yeah. Are there any other books or authors that do that for you?
I feel like one book that not high fantasy, and I haven't read Brandon Sanderson, so I don't know if this is the same. But when I read Upon a Starlit Tide by Kel Woods, I feel like the second half of that book was so fast and everything kind of came together like that. It was like I couldn't stop reading. Would you say it was like that, Marianne?
Yeah, that's probably the closest I've come to a Sanderlanche outside of Brandon Sanderson. Yeah. But in general, I think it's like slow burn, which I think is like also very valuable too. Like the pacing, like keeping the pacing consistent throughout is good. It's just, I don't know. It's like a special sauce that he has to be able to do that.
What's it called? Sanderlanche?
Yeah, like Avalanche, but and Sanderson.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how
I'm like super excited. Does that happen in Mistborn?
I think so. It's been a while since I've read it.
I think so. I think every single one of his books has some kind of Sanderlanche. Yeah.
Because, I feel like that did happen in Tress. Yeah, it was very quick at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, like right when they got to the dragon, things started to happen really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
I didn't know that was a term.
Yeah, I don't know how that came about. If his fan base named it, or I mean,
it has to be Reddit. Someone on Reddit who's clever.
Probably. Yeah.
Really, it was Marianne. Like you just like.
If that were the case, trust me, you would know, and so would everyone else. I'd be like, yes, it is I, Marianne, inventor of the Sanderlanche.
You would have been at Dragonsteel already.
Yeah, I would have been like, "Where's my free ticket?"
That's so funny. Yeah, I love that's like something that's really cool about high fantasy, which I guess happens with a lot of fantasy because I mean Harry Potter, but in high fantasy, there's the fans, like, because it's such a different world. Like, I feel like you can get really into it and become very, well, I mean, Marianne, you know all of the details. And, and yeah, I feel like that doesn't really happen with other genres. I think it's pretty unique, especially to high fantasy. Yeah.
That is true. There's like a community element because like you're sharing in this shared created world. It's kind of like LARPing or like D&D or like, you know.
I don't know what LARPing is. And I keep seeing email subjects with it. And I was like, I don't know what this means.
Live action role play.
Live action role play. Okay. So my marketing emails that are saying this, like.
Oh, probably not that.
No, they're reading that. And I'm like, wait, I don't know what this is. Okay. Thank you. I don't know any terms. That's what I'm
like trying to connect what marketing has to do with LARPing.
Yeah.
I think they were using it to like, you know, it was like a subject. I don't remember. I'd have to find it. But I literally had like 2 or 3 in the past week that had LARPing in the subject. And I was like, is this some political thing? Like, I don't know what this means.
No, it's a nerd thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, people, where I used to live, there was this community of LARPers who would meet every Saturday morning with their like they have these fake swords and like fake like chainmail, and they fight, and it's really intense. Like my husband tried it and he thought it was going to be like, oh, ha, 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 ha. No, he got brutalized. Like it is a very intense, but it is a shared world. Like it's like a shared like fantasy world that you co-create together. And I kind of feel like that is something cool about high fantasy I never thought about, is like the author creates the world, but we share in it. And like we like through like online communities and things like that, like you kind of like are a participant in that world. And maybe that's why I'm like, oh yeah, planet Earth is just what I have to endure to like, you know, be on my planet of choice is Roshar. So like,
yeah, I think there's something really transportive about it that you don't get in other genres. And like, also this like cosplay element of it, which I feel like has been getting bigger and bigger over the past few years. You can't really, I mean, I guess you can cosplay as like real life people, but nobody will be able to tell.
Yeah. And it just doesn't hit home. Like, oh, I'm like Steve Hawking. I don't know. That's just not that interesting. Or like, oh, I don't know, like Maya Angelou or whatever, like someone from history. I don't know. That just feels like Halloween, or like appreciation. But there's something, cosplay specifically. It's like I am that person. Like I am. Like you could dress up as Stephen Hawking, but you're not Stephen Hawking. You're just kind of like paying homage to him. But when you cosplay, you're like I am this person, and like you will act like that person, and like you embody that person for a while.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because it's kind of rude if you were to be like, I am Stephen Hawking and I will be him. It's almost like mocking. Like you can't do that to a real life human being because it's like it comes off as rude. But you could totally do that to a fake character.
Yeah, or like identity theft. Like it's
the FBI is on your door and be like, we heard. Yeah, there's a cease and desist letter involved. You know, the real person is like, stop showing up as me. You know, like.
Yeah. It's interesting because, well, I clearly do not know many terms, so I don't know as much about it. But I think that I love that some of these characters and in these different worlds and they're going through these experiences that, I mean, most of the time, because a lot of high fantasy seems to also be epic, where it's like, you know, end of the world stakes. They're going through this very intense thing and you get to feel that kind of like confidence and also like feel more empowered just reading it. Like if the character has magic and it's like, oh, like I get to like have that kind of, I just want to say power that maybe you don't have in your daily life, which is, I think, really beautiful. And I feel like we all kind of need, like in addition to like going to therapy and working through your thing, you can also
we write books instead of going to therapy.
We support mental health here. But yeah, so it's like another way to like kind of like role play and work through different emotions and different feelings, which I know we talked about a little bit, AJ, in the Hope episode that we did. But yeah, I love that about fantasy because it gives you the chance to, like you said, Marianne, like embody someone else, whether you're cosplaying or you're reading the book or you're watching the show or, you know, whatever it is. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I think that's probably another like unifying thing of high fantasy other than like the secondary world aspect. A lot of it seems to be like the idea that there will always be hope even when things seem impossible is in a lot of these stories. And like the fact that we can do anything if we do it together. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
That is like a key theme in almost every fantasy, like from Lord of the Rings to even like Game of Thrones, like from like across the whole spectrum. That's like a key theme. It's like everyone does their part and you might not see how you doing your part adds to the greater whole. But when you do your part and you do the right thing and like you try to have integrity and character and you're brave, and even if it doesn't, even like if you're in that particular case, that person dies a horrible, ghastly, beastly death, like what they did carries forward. And like, and like people build on it. And it is a very hopeful message like that. I think that is why I love high fantasy is it's at its core, even like the dark fantasy, I think. Depends, I guess. I haven't read all the fantasy in the world, but the fantasy I read is like a very hopeful in its core.
Yeah, I agree. I think even sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say it's interesting you said about how there's the community in the stories and then there's the community around that too. It's like in having these stories where community is such a big part in these partnerships. Like we're then it inspires all of us to have community, which is really important today when, you know, loneliness is so prevalent. And I feel like the world just wants us to be like separated and alone on our screen. And like, no, we're like, no, we'll like read our fantasy books and go to the Dragonsteel convention and go like have this community. It's like almost like an act of rebellion just to like be a part of the fantasy community.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, this was so fun. For everyone listening, I know we didn't get through the whole list. So AJ, you had a lot.
I did.
Of high fantasy books, which is amazing. So is there one on the list that we didn't touch on that you really want to share with the world?
Oh, okay. I like both of these so much, but I'm going to go with the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. I think it has one of my favorite characters of all time because he starts at such a high point, like literally the most powerful dude in the world. The magic system is based on like colors of light, and each color has different like properties that you can use it for, and like you can make it physical and use it to build things. And everybody can only use one color, but he is the prism and he can use all colors. It's very cool. But he starts at the top and he goes all the way down over the course of the series. Like watching him have everything taken away and hit rock bottom, and then he is able to claw his way back up. And I don't know if this is a Sanderlanche exactly, but the end of that series, I think I was like sobbing for probably the last like 150 pages or so. It's just one of those moments where like you think everything is lost and all your work is for nothing and you've been fighting so hard and what was it for? And then like the riders of Rohan appear over the hill and like that kind of thing where like your allies actually do come to you. It was just and it's a huge cast of characters. They're all really interesting. But I think Gavin's probably my favorite, and the magic system is really interesting. There's a lot of politics in it. There's a game that's very similar to Magic the Gathering that plays a big part of some of the characters' relationships. There's just a lot of cool stuff in there. And that's a finished series. 5
Thanks. Okay, thanks for remembering that. Okay. Question for you.
Yeah.
If you were to give me one of these books to start with from your list today, what is the one that you would recommend that I start with? And for the listeners.
I want you specifically, I want you to start with Isle in the Silver Sea.
Okay.
Just because you were so excited about it. I think that's probably a good starting point for a lot of, if you're like just getting into high fantasy, that's probably a good one as well.
Oh, I love that. I got chills when you were talking about the prism, that story. I was like, oh my gosh, like you cried for like the last 150 pages. That sold me. Anytime someone's like, I sobbed the whole time, I'm like, okay, I'll read that book. Unless it's like all of like everyone, like Game of Thrones, where just like everyone's murdered, which I have,
good, like hopeful, happy tear. Like I was moved so deeply, tears.
Yeah. Like that emotional, cathartic release. Like I'm like, yes, those are the books that I like. Yeah.
Same.
I love
By
that.
the way, Demi, just a quick update on Game of Thrones, because I feel like I've recently started to finally develop an appreciation for it, because I know I've bashed it so much. So AJ, I read the first 4 books and I was like, this is too violent. So I put it like halfway through, like fair. I was reading this particularly intense scene and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And I put it down and I never read it again. And I watched the first season of the show. And again, I'm like, nope, can't do it. Recently, on my YouTube algorithm, it's been showing up like clips of Game of Thrones, but without the horrible, awful stuff. And so I'm like able to piece together the story without having to endure the horrible, awful stuff. And I'm like, wait, this is actually a good story. Like it's good. I get it. I get what he's trying to say now. It is a hopeful story, because I've always been like, oh my God, he hates, like, I'm like, there's no hope and everyone dies. Like, just like, but I actually get it now. It's like, even when the worst possible, horrible, awful, god awful things happen, there's still hope. It's like, oh, I get it. So anyways, if someone wants to read Game of Thrones or they want to know what happens in the story, but like they can't handle the violence, just go on YouTube and just type in like Game of Thrones clips. And it's like, I really pieced together what's happening, and it's pretty good. It's a good book. I will.
Like
I
turning off the gore filter on the video.
Yeah. Yeah. So just thought I would share that update that I have.
Yeah, we need like a clean version of Game of Thrones for
like someone should piece it together. It's like, and then this happened, but they don't show it. They're just like
just like a voiceover, and then like a few people died, and then moving on.
Exactly.
This was so fun. Well, clearly we could talk about high fantasy for hours because there's an endless number of books and worlds and magic and characters, and this was so fun. I just have so many books now that I have to read. And Brandon Sanderson was already on there, but I'm sorry, Marianne, I think he's getting moved down.
No,
I cannot commit. And I'll put some of these other. I'll do Mistborn, but
Mistborn's on the docket.
I'll take it.
But this was so fun. Thank you so much, AJ, for joining and sharing all of these wonderful recommendations with us.
I have more if people want them.
Well, maybe we'll do a part 2 someday. This was so fun. And for everyone watching and listening, definitely let us know if there's anything we didn't talk about that you love that's high fantasy. And or also let us know if you're going to read one of these after listening to this, because I'm like, they all sound so, you do such a good, that should be your like professional job in addition to being an author, is like summarizing books to get other people to read them.
No, I have to look all these things up before I do these because I forget the details of what happens.
Well, I believed you. We were like, we're sold. But thank you. This was so fun. And we'll see everyone in the next episode. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed the episode, follow More Magic on your favorite podcast platform to be notified of future episodes. And if you have the time, please rate and review to help us spread more magic to other fantasy readers. As always, if there's a book you want us to discuss, you can let us know at moremagicpodcast.com. In the meantime, we hope your current read becomes your next favorite, and we're sending you more magic.